We love high school sports in America, but have you ever seen a flash mob at a girls' sporting event? Is there any real difference between girls and guys' teams? We went to a school board meeting and asked if they thought gender equality in sports is an issue. I have heard the girls' basketball team complaining about how the boys' teams get more priority, like on where they get to practice.
And one thing is the lacrosse and tennis uniforms we have noticed are usually skirts, and we found that it wouldn't be unprofessional to wear shorts like other girl sports like soccer.
What efforts are being put in to creating equality within the sports on a bigger scale?
I just want to say thank you to these young women for coming up and being brave and kind of talking about this. I'm really excited that the district is open to exploring this. I think when we hear feedback from students in the district, it really helps us rethink how we do the work we do. So thank you for being here and bringing this up, and thank you, district, for working with these young women to make sure that our schools are equitable places and that we're thinking about all perspectives of how we provide support to students.
I have no idea who determines how you dress, but it's an interesting question. Yeah. But I don't know that nothing's come before us to how girls can dress in lacrosse, but it'd be interesting to find out.
We just completed an investigation regarding Title IX from the Office of Civil Rights, and we were investigated over a period of about 1 year. Came out that we, in our school district, were doing an outstanding job in promoting and supporting girls and boys athletics.
But is everything really resolved?
One specific event that I can remember was last year. There was word that someone was going to come and investigate, equality within sports. And for my dance team, we were told that we couldn't perform at the men's basketball game unless we performed at the women's basketball game due to this event. And so we did, but we haven't really performed after that during the women's basketball games just because we had never done it before, but it wasn't continued. It wasn't something that was kept up by school authorities either. So
the gym is like a big deal with most of the indoor sports, and usually the boys have priority over the gym after school, so the girls are like forced to come in like really early and do it. So I think that maybe sometimes the girls should get the gym after school instead.
Some sports do get like preferential treatment. Like football has like the sports room and like the personal trainers and everything.
At San Marcos specifically, our football team gets a lot more attention. And I mean, our football team's not really good, but I think because it's the boys' football team, they get more attention. People go to their games even though we know like they're not going to win most of the time. So there's some inequality there, and not many people go to the girls' basketball team or to girls' tennis and volleyball and stuff like that. But there's definitely more of a focus on boys' football at San Marcos.
If the girls have more time to practice after school and the boys like switch off with them sometimes, then both teams can be equally good, and no one will assume that one team is better than the other just because they're boys or girls.
A lot of times our scores aren't on the intercom as much, and so there's not as much publicity for softball as there is with a lot of other sports.
I think that the boys' sports teams often get a lot more hyped up than the girls do when it comes to like going to them and cheering for them. And in general, like tennis usually doesn't get that many people to come to our games, which is fine because it's like it's a quiet sport. You're not supposed to cheer. But I know in basketball, this is really prominent. Like the guys' basketball games are some of the most popular in school, but how many people go to the girls?
there's rallies for like men's basketball or football and stuff like that. So why can't we have rallies for women's sports as well? And then therefore people will get excited to go to these games and just experience them as well.
I believe in the equality of men and women, so I do think that it would be a good thing to strive for to have co-ed sports.
I think because it's out of the ordinary, like it's been just girls and boys teams separate for so long that when a girl wants to join a boys sport, it makes people like think that it's some kind of big revolution when really it shouldn't be, because boys and girls should be allowed to play all sports.
Because traditionally, females are not usually seen as tough, so when one of them is put on the guys' team, some people might not want to admit that they're good enough to be there.
But I think coaches need to get more involved with asking the school for what they want for their team so that everything can be equal.
Yeah, there certainly are differences with boys and girls. The girls have to have fun to be successful. The guys have to win to have fun. No, girls are just as competitive, especially at this school. Our girls are very, very competitive and very successful, more so than the boys, pretty much. You know, if you look at our championship teams, most of them are girls.
I did some gender studies at the Olympic Training Center, and you ready for the most profound comment with regards to girls and guys? Girls need to be accepted to perform. Guys need to perform to be accepted. And, so it's more social with girls, tends to be a little bit less social with guys, but girls are the perfect practice players. They really work hard in drills. They want to be successful. They want everything to look perfect. Guys are not as good of practice players, but they tend to compete a little bit differently.
In general, there's still a disparity in the way women and men are treated in sports. I think a good example of that was this year's World Cup, which was held in Canada for women. The women were, during that World Cup, they played on artificial turf. During the men's World Cup, artificial turf was not allowed because of the injuries that it creates. So there's no reason why they should have allowed the women to play on artificial turf. So from the highest level, that tells us in sport that there's still some work to be done, and women aren't treated the same as men. Even at Dos Pueblos, we're looking at, we have to have conversations about field use and who should get what field. And I think there's a general perception and a feeling that the boys have priority of the field, which should not be the case. We feel that they should be treated equally. And even today, I think there's strides being made, but not enough, and I think there's still work to be done.
Sports sometimes reflect the issues that we deal with in society. If we can't even address the gender issues in sports, how do we expect to accomplish any social change?